You guys are so lovely and chatty this morning that I forgot to continue inviting Instagram and YouTube to the party. Happy Monday! Norberto, what is my thoughts of your energy, our energy? What are my thoughts of our energy? What do you mean, hun? The collective energy, the energy in the room right now, your specific energy. I see you, YouTube. You're there. Hello, YouTube. How are you? Instagram, you too? Goodness, good morning. Hello, everyone. We are salt batteries. Robert Lee, no eating whole as opposed to... Oh, eating whole. Okay. I thought you meant like Whole Foods store. Yes. Whole, unprocessed, non-GMO. That's like, if you want to talk about diet, which you guys know I don't talk a lot about diet. I don't even like to use the word diet on here. That's my primary, is whole, whole, unprocessed food, as close to source as possible. Let's go with your energy. So I guess I should have added the piece, Norberto, that I don't reach out and do. I don't do energy work here on lives. I don't reach out for other people's energy, and I do not allow other people reaching into my energy. I have good protections set up, and occasionally I teach those protections too. Actually, the mudra that we're going to be working with this week is a protective mudra. But remember that the way that we protect our energy system is by raising our frequency, right? So by aligning our system, healing our system, raising our vibration, right? That kind of stuff. That is how we genuinely and sustainably, long-term, protect our systems. Raise above those negative, dense energies that constitute energetic vampires, psychic attacks, demonic kind of entities, this kind of negative, deep, dense energy. Yes, Shinix, boundaries are critical. Access is a privilege. Now, this is something that culturally many of us have gotten the opposite message. That access to our energy and to our resources is imperative. That we must allow access to these things. Otherwise, we're a bad person, or we don't care enough, or we're too selfish, or a lot of these things. And this can result in imbalances, right? So boundaries are rooted in the sacral chakra. And if we have traumas, or let's just take away the judgment and say imbalances, right? We're not centered in our sacral chakra. The energy is either excessive or deficient. Then I'm going to really struggle to set those boundaries. And it's going to be a lifelong journey, right? Until I learn that lesson, right? It's going to give me a big thing to work on as I'm developing. Beam, love you. See, Victoria, love you. She said in a cross squat, so she knows a dude. So she knows dude. Who's dude? The dude? Are you talking about the dude? I know the dude. The Church of the Dude. Enough said. Just thinking about my health, that I'm not being told. But thank you. I'm not sure what you mean, friend. So I don't do personal readings on here. I don't do personal energy work on here. If you would like to book a private session with me, you can find that at Patreon, patreon.com/movewithchange. There's a link for membership and private sessions and all that stuff in my link tree. I won't talk about it too much because that's not what we're here for. We're here for practice and class and information sharing and fun stuff like that. But I will say, we have a Discord space, and that Discord space is our CAYA community space. It's our public space where you can come in totally for free and have more at-length discussions with our budding and yet thriving community. So, Norberto, if that's something that interests you and you'd like to talk more about energy or about where you're at, please come in. Again, dog, please don't jump out that window. What are you thinking? Hey, sir. It's odd enough that you're sitting up here with me today, so make up your mind. Okay. Yes, it was for you too with the boundaries until it wasn't, and they were in place for me. Is that a wrapper, radiator, heater? Yes, it is. That's okay. It's a radiator. Yes, it is. Keeps me warm. Okay, my friends. Hello. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Or whatever time it is, wherever you are. For those of you who are new here, hello. My name is Reverend Deborah. I am an interfaith minister, a movement facilitator, movement in breath, body, and being, and I am your shenanigan shaman. Because do we talk about serious stuff in here? Totally. Do we take ourselves too seriously? Absolutely not. Because it is play that often, laughter, that is the best medicine. Play that creates the space for us to meet ourselves with curiosity and willingness, which is a profoundly effective tool for building a trusting, compassionate relationship with yourself, which is what pretty much we're all doing here, right? This is the Bhakti Bites. This is my Bhakti Bites class. So Bhakti is a Sanskrit term that means devotion. Devotion to what? Simply devotion to self-care. Nothing above that. If you want to practice devotion to anything else above that, that is up to you. Remember, in this space, you are your own guru. I am not your guru. I am not your leader. I share the information that I have gathered over more than 20 years of work and study in the field of human development and wellness. It's a huge toolbox I have. And I studied it mostly to help myself. But now I've discovered this awesome toolbox of things that I can offer to you. And over the years, trying to figure out, I'm still working on this piece, figuring out what is the truest to my authenticity, to my truth. What is the best way to share this information? So at present, the information I share is totally for free, because knowledge is power. And we live in a world right now that relies on your ignorance. In fact, it encourages your willful ignorance. So the most radical thing that we can do in a world like that, to take our power back, to take our freedom back, is to become familiar. Become familiar with yourself. Become familiar with your health, with your food, with your neighbors, with your family members, with the businesses in your town, with the information that's available all across the web. Become familiar with what this side and that side and everybody in the middle is talking about. Become familiar with the actual laws and regulations that are being put in. Become familiar with your own emotions. Become familiar with exactly where your money goes. Become familiar with why you're making what choices, when, and how, and see if they're really effective for you, or if they're leading you away from your truth, away from your healing, away from the love and the peace that many of us seek. So in this space, we call this our CAYA community space. CAYA, C-A-Y-A, stands for Come As You Are, because in this space, authenticity is encouraged. We create a safe space here for everybody to show up exactly as they are. The key, however, is that we approach each other with curiosity and willingness as best as possible. We can't always approach each other with love. We can't always be compassionate. Sometimes we're judgmental and we're triggered. But if we can at least take responsibility for those feelings being our own and value the other in this space, then we can approach them with curiosity and willingness. And in that way, we offer ourselves the opportunity to learn and grow and thrive as a community, rather than perpetuating the bickering and infighting and all of that divisiveness that's out there in the world right now. So that's what this space is about. And I love and appreciate every one of you that hangs out in this space. Robert Lee, have a great day. And those of you who are here often, I definitely appreciate your added support in helping people who come in who aren't aware of what this space is about. So I appreciate and I encourage all of you to meet, especially the new folks, especially some people who come in with big emotions or loud things to say, to meet them with curiosity and willingness, and if you can, some compassion. Remember that, right? When we are lives a lot of times are like sitting in a park talking with your friends. meditating, doing Tai Chi, practicing mudras, and then having random people come sit down with us. So for me, this is actually a lot of times a game of improv, right? The improv comes when the random people come in with random things to say, related, unrelated, judgmental, totally obscure, right? This is the improv. And I encourage all of you to engage with me and see if we can say yes. That's a rule of improv, is to never say no. A rule of improv is to never say no. Can you join me today and see if we can say yes to everyone who comes in here as best we can? Use that yes to direct the energy toward a safe container. Moderators, you know when to hit the mute button. Please don't ever hit the block button. We want everyone to have the opportunity to come back when they are able to be responsible for their choices and their actions. It requires a degree of maturity. It requires a degree of personal responsibility. We cultivate these things in this space, which is why we allow those folks in who need these tools even more, right? So thank you all again for supporting me, for supporting this space, and for coming together so that we can do this awesome work. The wind is crazy today. You can see it shaking my stuff. I think it might be shaking the whole RV, so we might just be wiggling all thing. Jan, absolutely. Yeah, you're anybody, if you guys ever want to send me a message, you have my permission to send me a message. You can send me a message about a question, to offer support and encouragement, whatnot. If you don't agree with what I'm doing here and what I'm teaching, feel free to send me a message. Again, the only thing I ask is that you approach it with curiosity and willingness, or at least a willingness to converse. If you approach me with a judgment and a condemnation and a just know that I know, I'm probably not going to respond to you. That's not an open table for discussion. But I am more than happy to have these discussions, especially if you would like to practice nonviolent communication. It's a tool, a skill that we desperately need in this world. So I encourage you to hang out in this space. If you'd like to practice and work with these tools a lot more, join us in our free Discord space. The link for that is in my bio, in the link tree. If you would like to offer donations to support what I do, there's a Cash App link there, and there's a way to grab memberships on my Patreon page as well. So all of those things are available to you for now. The next thing available to you this week, the new thing available to you, is the Garuda Mudra, or Garuda Mudra. My Sanskrit is not perfect, so I apologize for my pronunciation here. But, Victoria, where am I at? Oregon. Ooh, Lori, thank you. Yes, I will, absolutely. Can I explain what I mean when I say meet with curiosity? Gigi follows up with willingness to listen with an open mind and non-judgment. Essentially, yes. Meeting somebody with curiosity, right? So if I meet anything in the world with curiosity, it is kind of through those willing, even maybe childlike eyes, as if the thing is new. If I approach the thing as new and as valuable in itself, rather than as I know what that is, I know what that type of person is, I know what that type of statement is, I know where they're coming from, I know what they're trying to do, right? When we come from this place of either judgment or I know everything there is to know, making assumptions, then we close our minds off to the opportunity to see what's really before us. We already narrow our vision, our field of understanding when we do that. So when we talk about meeting somebody with curiosity, we meet them with new eyes and remind ourselves that I don't know this person. I don't know where they're coming from. I don't know what they've been through. I don't know what's influencing them right here, right now. So meeting them with a sense of curiosity and a willingness, an open heart, a willingness to value the person, as a valuable, important piece to the whole, right? If you're alive right now, you wouldn't be alive right now if the universe didn't need you. So if we can approach each other with that sense of, I know the universe needs you, and I'm curious as to maybe why, right? Why does the universe need you? What is it about you? But that requires me to open my heart and open my ears, right? To listen, not waiting to respond, but listening and wondering, I wonder who, I wonder why, I wonder how. And asking those questions. Instead of meeting each other with statements or judgments, we can meet each other with questions, understanding, empathy. So very literally, be curious. Very literally, be curious. Yes. Yeah. Sir, what are you doing? Are you going to jump over all the bowls and everything? You can go around behind me. What's your beef today? Why are you up here? I mean, I don't mind, but it's making me a little nervous with the coffee and the bowls and all the things. Awesome. Thank you, Jan. What's up, sir?
I just want
Te amo todo tiempo, mijo. Okay, get your stuff down because I have to. We have a somewhat short session today. I have to get off here at noon. No way. Is that why you're laughing at yourself because you just finished it? My son just finished his job before I was done teaching class, and he now, yeah, okay, we'll go play. You just realized how awesomely easy it is? Wonderful. You could get a little ahead of yourself, or you could go play. But I need to teach class.
Okay.
Okay, I love you.
Could I maybe watch a song there? Because
Out in the
house.
yes, in the house you may. Yes, Lori, they are singing bowls. I not so recently, sometime last year, got myself a new set of singing bowls. And they're okay. They're not perfectly tuned, but we can get a nice resonance out of them. Okay. But let's sit with this mudra. So we sit with our mudra for a minimum of 5 minutes. On Mondays, we always sit with our new mudra for 5 minutes. Oof. Okay, you need to find a spot to sit, lay down or something. So, again, the mudra for this week is the mudra for maturity, the Garuda Mudra. Garuda translates to mythological bird or mythological eagle in particular. This is a pretty simple one, and it's done like so. Bring your palms in, facing each other, crossing your arms, and interlace at the fingers. Hook them together at the fingers. Now, what's different about this mudra, you hold it up here at the chest. You can also hold it a little bit lower, but ideally up here. What's different about this mudra from the rest of them that we usually do is that for every other mudra, I will tell you no more than the weight of a nickel, right? Your connection needs to be with intention only. That's often how we do our mudras, with intention only, unless there is an intentional pressure point. This mudra has an intentional pressure point. We create firm pressure, we create tension between the thumbs. And expand the fingers nice and wide like the wings of a bird, the wings of an eagle. So you can go ahead and grab your mudra. You can be seated upright. You can be laying down. You can be walking. Obviously, if you're driving, please don't grab this mudra, and please do not close your eyes. If you would like to join us for a 5-minute meditation, we will do this meditation together. Shinix, do you activate different aspects depending on which hand is on top? So there is a subtle difference between the left hand being on top versus the right hand being on top. Again, I encourage you, we do new mudras every single week. So I encourage you to start a journal and to keep track of these mudras and to keep track of what they feel like. And experiment with them. Experiment with the mudras because all of our systems are unique. And this mudra like this may do the work absolutely best possible way. Or if I go like this, it may be softer, right? Depending on your system, the mudras are going to feel a little bit different. This is why I encourage you to play with your mudra to find what works for you. And again, I always say to sit with them for a minimum of 5 minutes because it takes 5 minutes for this to circulate through your entire energy system, for the adjustments to circulate through your energy system. But listen, if you can only do 1 minute, if you can only do 3 minutes, then only do what you can do without shaming yourself, without guilting yourself. Remember, when we practice, what are the foundations of mindfulness in this space? What are the foundations of mindfulness? They're on my t-shirt today. Intention, attention, curiosity, and willingness. So when we practice our mudras, we bring our intention to the practice. My intention today is just to sit for 5 minutes with this mudra and see what comes up. That's it. Nothing more, nothing complicated. Just sit for 5 minutes. When I close my eyes, that's my cue to bring my attention back to squarely into my intention. So if my intention is to experience this mudra, I'm going to bring my attention back to my system, my breath, the mudra itself, maybe the sensations in my body, whatever is happening here and now. Anytime I notice my mind has wandered off to my to-do list or what's going to happen or what time it is or anything like that, I gently, with compassion and love and grace, bring my attention back. Not with judgment, not with shame, not with guilt. Remember that in this space, we are meeting the delicate and vulnerable parts of ourselves. It behooves us to walk softly, to be gentle in this delicate space. So we've already been holding this mudra for at least a couple of minutes now, right? Are you noticing anything just yet? We haven't even sat for our 5-minute meditation yet. You may notice something, you may notice nothing at all. Remember that you don't have to have a visceral experience or you don't have to have some psychedelic visuals to receive the benefit of a mudra. Mudras work by redirecting the energy channels in the body. A lot like acupressure, acupuncture, that kind of stuff. And this is self-energy work. Different mudras work with different energies. So, this increases digestive fire. This boosts the Manipura chakra, which is the solar plexus chakra. This is my center for confidence, my center for autonomy. Yeah. Big energy like that is what this brings. A large, magnificent bird with what great perspective and wisdom to see life from that higher angle. This is what we cultivate within ourselves when we hold this mudra. All right, if you'd like to join me for 5 minutes, we're going to go ahead and close our eyes and we're going to settle in with 3 deep breaths. Bring intention back to your mudra. Keep that pressure between the thumbs. Keep the fingers extended, palms facing in. Take a big inhale through the nose. Pull the breath through the lungs and all the way into the belly. And sigh it out. Inhale again, lifting the heart and lifting through the top of the head. And let it go. Inhale once more, expanding the rib cage in all directions, front, sides, and back. And let it go. At the end of your exhale, seal the lips and continue your breath through the nose, following the inhale all the way to the top, following the exhale all the way to the bottom. Allow the breath to lull you into this present moment. Again, in this space is when we begin cultivating our intention and our attention. At the moment, my intention is to follow the breath. And anytime my attention wanders off, I just come back, refocus. Take a few moments, allowing the breath to settle into a comfortable, steady rhythm of inhales and exhales. This is the entirety of our practice. We're going to sit for 5 minutes, just staying with the breath, And anytime we notice tension in the mind, in the breath, in the body, let it go. If it helps focus your mind, you can choose an anchor. You can listen to the breath and that be your anchor. Anytime your attention wanders off, you return your attention to listening for the breath. You can choose the pressure between your thumbs as your anchor. So anytime your mind wanders off, bring your attention back to the pressure between your thumbs. Any other anchor that works for you in the present moment. Steady breaths. Intention in your mudra. Intention in the breath. Intention in the body. Exhaling all tension. Two more minutes. Inhales and exhales. There is nothing else to do here but to breathe and hold your mudra. And bring your attention back as many times as it takes. You can stay here with this mudra, with the breath, as long as you would like to. We've completed our 5 minutes, so I invite you to release the mudra and bring your hands either to prayer at your heart or lay one over the other over your heart in gratitude for today's practice, in gratitude for this mudra, in gratitude for the prana that flows through our systems, allowing us to realign. Offer yourself some gratitude for taking the time for self-care today. Yes, it was just 5 minutes, but that's fucking fantastic. And you deserve a whole lot more. Thank you so much for joining me for this practice and helping me cultivate this CAYA space where we can learn and grow and thrive together. When you are ready to come out of meditation, please do so slowly. Offer yourself some wiggles, some stretches, but only opening your eyes when you're really ready to come back, when you're really certain you want to come back. Maybe I do. Maybe I don't. Who knows? I could just stay in meditation forever. Forever. Garuda Mudra. Garuda Mudra. It's like so. The mudra for maturity. The wisdom of maturity. Giving us this perspective of maturity. The wisdom of years of experience and practice. Assisting us in accessing the collective knowledge, collective understanding. This mudra also serves as a protective mudra. That strength of an eagle, protective. Protective because it also boosts the Manipura chakra, so it improves life force, flow of life force, improves confidence, improves self-esteem, improves our ability to maintain a balanced sense of control in a situation. Sergeant Angel Eyes, me too. Welcome. You're very welcome. Thanks, Slick. I seriously have been laughing about making my feet their own TikTok channel. I'm not gonna do OnlyFans. I'm not interested in that kind of energy. But my feet get a lot of attention, so I'm thinking about like drawing characters on my toes and just giving them their own page. Like, I don't know what else to do because I'm not going to OnlyFans and I'm not selling feet pics. I'm not going down that route. However, I feel like they deserve the recognition. Hey! I've actually really kind of been toiling with this because this has been like since I've started going live, I have gotten comments on the fact that my feet are size 11 and I have very long toes and I can pick things up. They're kind of like a second pair of hands and skis. Like they are an anomaly. I'll give you that. They are an anomaly. So I feel like it's like, you know, mean. It's not fair for me to keep them hidden away. Yeah, so who knows? Maybe they'll get their own page. Better give them names too, Gil. Yeah, I know. You guys will probably have to help me give them names, probably. I don't know. Otherwise, they'll just be piggies. Who knows? This is our Garuda Mudra. This mudra can also be used as a protective mudra. Remember that when we boost our entire system, when we increase the flow of prana through our system, it raises our frequency, it raises our vibration. A lot of times, the stickiness, stuckness, or tension or difficulty that we feel in life is actually just a lack of life force flowing through us. So, this can do a lot to increase life force, as well as offer protection, and as well as bring wisdom, increased confidence that comes with years of experience. That kind of confidence. Garuda. Garuda. I'm gonna have to look into the name of this because I recognize the name like as somebody else's name. Maybe I'm wrong there, but I feel like there's a Garuda somewhere. That is the Garuda Mudra, the mythical bird. Increases digestive fire, boosts the Manipura chakra, center for confidence, offers protections, the protections of wisdom. So this also boosts the flow of energy from the solar plexus up, right? Because this is rising energy. This is bird energy. This is mythical sky creature. Dragon. A dragon. A dragon. I swear I saw a dragon. Energy. So it's with that lifting solar energy that this raises our frequency, raises our vibration, raises our prana, lifts our awareness into the sky. This is the most adorable little dog nose. Anybody, can you guys see this on the camera? Leb, hey, we have been talking about dragons a lot in the Discord. If you are interested in talking about dragons and fae and elementals and things like that, please come into the Discord. It's a good space for talking about it. And I have a membership to Gaia, and so I just now fucking realize this. Ridiculous. With my membership to Gaia, I'm like legally allowed to stream their stuff to my Discord. So if you don't know what Gaia is pretty amazing. Gaia is like on the forefront of some of the really interesting new information, theories, and theoretical explorations of our collective evolution, of the raising of frequencies, of elementals and dragons and fae and psychic abilities and history, as well as, you know, ancient history kind of stuff. Yeah. Yeah. So I'm going to be streaming more. We might even pick like a Saturday night streaming time, and we'll stream something really cool. Nice, Leb. Nice, Fada. I love that. Thor, welcome. Good morning, everyone. Take your mudra. This is your Garuda Mudra. Garuda Mudra? I know. I left the door open, the windows open last night, and we have a farm nearby. Like my neighbors have a little farm. So this is the time of year where, hey Nova, where we have a very large population of flies. So it's good for meditation though. Helps me practice staying centered, right? Welcome back. If you guys want to listen to some really awesome, fun harmonica music, watch for Thor here. Give Thor a follow. Actually, I'm going to pin you, Thor. Because Thor makes some fantastic harmonica music. And apparently is going to be going live more often. Right? Yes, that's what I heard. Yay! I don't know if I'll be able to come on later because I have errands to run. We got to go to the big city today. We got to go to the big city. In fact, I have to end our session today by 11:45. So we only have one more hour. I am usually on for like 3 or 4 hours at a time, but today we only have one more hour. So give Thor a follow if you would like to hear some fantastic harmonica. I used to like to play the harmonica. Awesome, Vada. Okay. So, my friends, last week we did the mudra for perspective, right? With the things going on in the world, perspective is a really important thing. Vada, they did what? Why? Why would they confiscate it, right? You're not allowed to play, apparently you're not allowed to play harmonicas on the Disneyland grounds. Yes?
Can you play Minecraft on the computer that I'm using there? The shop?
Yes.
Thank you.
How do you feel about the job you did? You got all the dishes in the sink done?
Yes.
Done properly?
Yes.
Why don't you give them a double check before you get into your Minecraft? I have one more hour. Before you get into your Minecraft, since they're dried a little bit, have a double check. Please? Okay. Keeker! Keeker! They said no instruments in the park? That's wild. Leb, you didn't? I did. I turned on the RV water heater and had myself a 5-minute rush rinse. Ooh, Pirates of the Caribbean song. Nice. That's weird about it. I wonder if it's because of people bringing in like instruments and busking in Disneyland. Leb, exactly. Showering every day is a waste of water unless you can go to the river, right? So, you guys see my cool new shirt? It's not my favorite color that we offer, that I have, but this is my new. I have been playing with, I've told you guys before, I got on live yesterday afternoon or Saturday afternoon, I think. I'm playing with creating merch with the 4 pillars of mindfulness on it. So these are available right now through the TikTok shop. I'm trying to figure out how to create an actual web page shop. I tried to keep the prices just a little bit, barely above the production costs, so that it stays low cost for you guys, so you guys can get some fun stuff. There's yoga pants, a yoga mat, t-shirt. There's a wall clock with the intentions on it. There's a fanny pack in there. There's some cool stuff. Again, I'm just experimenting with it, playing with it as a means of supporting the free classes. But check out the shop because it's a really soft shirt. And I made sure to only pick U.S. U.S. produced products. And these are my creation of art. But Ben, what can you do if your leg falls asleep every time you do half lotus? I mean, I would work on hip openers or try a different seated position. Um, Sometimes we just have our bodies are built in ways that are not conducive to certain types of positions, and if those positions cause you numbness or pain, I don't recommend those conditions or those positions. There it is, because that can perpetuate an imbalance versus doing hip openers and things and trying to get yourself to a point at which it doesn't feel like that. I am very flexible and I have to be very careful because I can get into this position, but sometimes it also causes me numbness if I'm not aware of the position that I'm in. So, yeah, awareness. Your awareness is the most important thing, and honoring your edges, right? We talk about how there's a million places out in this world where you can go work yourself, right? You can go build muscle and cause tension and push yourself, no pain, no gain kind of situations. That's not what we do in this space. That's not how we treat the inner vulnerable delicate spaces within us. We can treat our body like that, right, when we're building muscle, but we also need to make sure to treat our body with kindness and compassion too. We do a lot of treating ourselves with push and effort and doing and doing and doing and expectation and judgment and things like that. So I encourage you in this space, in this mindfulness space, to meet yourself with curiosity and willingness, to be willing to respect your edges, respect your boundaries, and instead of trying to push past them, to pause and offer some compassion. And even ask yourself, can I move forward? Can I push past this boundary or should I just wait? You might get a just wait. If we're going to build a trusting relationship with ourselves, we have to stop pushing ourselves past our edges again and again and again. Imagine if you had other people in your life that were constantly pushing you past your comfort level. It wouldn't be conducive to your wellness, wouldn't it? It wouldn't be a great friendship. Maybe your personal trainer, right? But you don't spend 24/7 with your personal trainer. And yet our self-talk is often that kind of self-talk. The judgmental, demanding, rather than the gentle and compassionate. So again, in this space, we practice cultivating that gentle, compassionate part of ourselves. If we can't muster that, again, at the very least, meeting it with curiosity and willingness. So if I'm sitting here in this position and I feel discomfort, I'm going to pause. I'm going to meet it with curiosity. Uh-oh. Instagram and YouTube, my computer just said it was installing something, so I really hope it does not crash on you, but if it does, we will be right back. When I notice something occurring in me, okay, in this position, tension in my body, I can meet that tension with curiosity, without judgment or without this like, oh, fuck, I can't do this, right? Meet it with curiosity. And for me, if it's physical tension, it usually means I need to move. So I'm going to go ahead and offer my body that move, the little adjustment. And look, that released the pressure that I was feeling in my right ankle. I'm back to comfort now, and I can go back to my mindfulness. Rather than staying in my mindfulness or in my meditation with the discomfort and just toughing it out. Is that a way to build a trusting relationship with myself? Not really. Vlada, I'm glad you're getting out of a situation like that that's unhealthy, right? So yeah, Ben, meeting yourself with curiosity and willingness and being willing to respect your own boundaries. When we are gentle within our inner space, we create the space for the quieter and quieter parts of ourselves to speak up. Usually the parts of ourselves that we're interacting with on a daily basis are the loudest, biggest, forefront parts of selves. aka usually some versions of ego. But behind those, underneath those, are the more vulnerable parts of yourself. Your inner child that's become a shadow. Your creative self that's become your oppressor. The demonized parts of yourself that have now become literally scary things within you. All of these exist behind the ego aspects that we use, what I call our Velveeta and our Kraft cheese, right? Most of us interact with the world with our Velveeta and Kraft cheese, but underneath there are finer and finer and finer, stinkier and stinkier, aged, moldier and moldier cheese way deep down. And that's what we're looking to get to in here. We're looking to meet the egos, but we're not looking to get down to that deeper well of skeletons in our closet sort of thing. We're not looking to do that with force, because force will only cause our protectors to be more protective. Yet when we approach the protectors with willingness and respect and even gratitude, thank you for protecting me. Immaturely, but thank you for protecting me, ego. You did your job. When we do that, when we build that trusting relationship, the first thing you'll notice is that that first layer starts to fall away. You meet that next layer with curiosity and willingness and compassion, and that next layer starts to fall away. This is how we do shadow work. This is how we get into the inner parts of self. And when we find the big, scary parts of ourself, then we have practiced meeting the easier parts of ourselves with compassion, with patience, with willingness, with curiosity. This is all about the journey. This is all about the practice. This is all about being present and curious with whatever shows up. It's not about force. It's not about judgment. It's not about creating an enemy of yourself. It's not about killing off some part of yourself or amputating some part of yourself or starving some part of yourself. These are not the terms we use in this space. There's a lot of that way out there. I encourage you to do something radical in a world that encourages that kind of do, tension, divisive, fight, struggle, strive, run, use up all your resources, exhaust yourself. And only then can you rest. Let's find balance. Let's create balance. Create balance. Lee Farrell, say yes to the opportunities. That's a really good, right? We meet ourselves with yeses. Again, I said before, I really love improv. And one of the rules of improv is to never say no. See if you can use that exact same analogy when you go within yourself. No matter what comes up, instead of saying no, flat out no, because that just hits the stop. That just hits the brake. That's it. But if we can somehow say yes, or at least say, I'm curious, then we create space for these other parts of ourselves to come up. And this is how we start to really know ourselves. Really understand ourselves. Hey, Bill. Lee, you're definitely curious. The question is, can you maintain that curiosity? If you are in a meditative state, if you are going in to do internal excavation and something scary comes up, something uncomfortable comes up, can you maintain that curiosity despite the rising of fear, despite the twinge in your heart or the wiggle in your belly that makes you go, that's not really, I don't know, right? It's often the unknown that causes us fear. Can you maintain that curiosity in the face of something that would otherwise cause you fear? This is the practice. One aspect of the practice. Intention, attention, curiosity, and willingness. Lee, meditation has been a problem for you. You can... I can scrub the walls and be in a sort of meditation. So I encourage you guys not to dismiss any style of meditation. In fact, again, that's why we talk about play in here. Experiment, play, be curious with different forms of meditation, because we are all unique and different. And what works for me may not work for you, just like vice versa. What works for you may not work for me. And there are many, many, many times in my life where I won't sit for a silent meditation, but instead will choose mindfulness in my daily activities. Again, this kind of message that we have to compartmentalize our mindfulness and in its own time and place, or our self-care has to be isolated from the rest of our lives. My self-care, my mindfulness should be accessible to me anytime I need it, whether I'm on my mat, whether I'm in a yoga studio, whether I'm doing my dishes at home, whether I'm out at the grocery store, whether I'm in a meeting at work or out for lunch with friends. My self-care and my mindfulness tools should always be available to me. Congratulate yourself for finding ways to integrate mindfulness instead of isolate mindfulness. This is the foundation of what we talk about in here, is that mindfulness is something that's available to you in every single moment. And when we practice it as an accessible back pocket, it's available right here, right now, just like my breath and just like my heartbeat. In every single moment, I can check in, and that's where they are. This is how we build the trusting relationship with ourselves. Not by showing up only at the scheduled time every week, but showing up when we actually need it, in a way that we actually need, not just some random way that somebody else told us how to show up, right? For breath is spirit. The etymology of spirit comes directly from respiritus, respiration, breath. There is life force, right, in our breath. There is, in fact, an exchange in our breath. We don't think about it often, but in my inhale, I am actively exchanging breath with the trees and with the ocean, with the universe itself, right? With the atmosphere of the earth. Think about that for a moment. Take a breath in. And that thing that we barely even think about happening is actually an intimate exchange with the universe. I just inhaled the trees and the ocean. So did you. Because without these things, I would not breathe. I would not have life. This is what I mean when we say curiosity and willingness. In every moment, thank you, friend. Because if I can be curious about my breath, something so familiar, something so common, something so I'm used to it, something so habitual that it becomes unconscious, right? Bring the unconscious conscious. And you shift your state of reality on a quantum level. We talk about quantum mindfulness in this space, right? The mundane, right? Be curious about even the mundane. Leb, that's a beautiful sentiment. Breath is life choosing you. A friend of mine, good friend of mine, Eric here, says, you're on the wake-up list. I was on the wake-up list, right? That first breath in the morning reminds me that I was on the wake-up list. For me, it's the universe breathing through me. It's the evidence that the universe is experiencing the same things I'm experiencing as I'm experiencing them. Reason the white horse likes to share breath, such a spiritual thing. Oh, were you here last Saturday, Feral Farm, when we did the flying horse meditation with our mudra? Did you get the mudra from last week? I specifically want to make sure that you got it, because it actually is the horse jewel, or most excellent of horses mudra. And we did a meditation where this horse has wings and lifts us up into our perspective, gives us perspective. Okay, here, let me review for the mudra for last week. This is the Ashvaratna mudra, and it is done like so. You bring your palms together, Keep your pinkies and your ring fingers and your thumbs connected. And then interlace your pointer and your middle finger. Create a little bit of space. I like to keep the base of my palms together and create a little bit of space between the palms and the fingers. So it remains like so, with a little bit of space within, and then we anchor it here at our chest. This is the mudra for perspective. And the meditation is still on YouTube. If you want to go look at the meditation, it starts at 10:30 or right about there. And it's the Saturday one, where we invited the horse, the most excellent of horses, represented by this mudra, to give us a ride up into our internal landscape so that we can see the map of our life, the landscape of our reality, the landscape that we co-create for our reality. Ashvaratna Mudra. The mudra for this week is the Garuda Mudra. Garuda Mudra. And is the eagle, or mythical bird, mythological bird. This mudra, right, unlike the rest of the mudras that we do, like this one, we say hold it within tension. Not tension, don't create tension, don't create pressure in this one, right? You want to hold it within tension so that it doesn't collapse. But this mudra, we create tension. Create tension between the thumbs. Pull, don't do it too hard, right? But just create a little bit of tension here between the thumbs so that it activates the fire, digestive fire element in the body, boosts the Manipura chakra, the solar plexus, increases digestive fire, increases confidence, increases energy, prana through the Manipura chakra, increases intelligence, or, opens up the upper chakras by way of sending energy up from these lower chakras. So remember, this is a bird, right? So this is a rising energy that comes up through us. Garuda Mudra. Vada, thank you for asking. Does it matter what hand is closer to the chest? I encourage you to experiment with what feels most appropriate to you. I habitually put my left in front of my right. But it's not necessary to do one either way. Regal Poison. You think you may have an overactive chakra because that's the only place you ever feel anything. Again, everyone, Lavelle, hey, thank you, friend. Remember, I highly encourage you to keep a journal with the mudras so that you can experiment with them and try them. Remember, 5 minutes minimum is when you're going to start, usually when the energy circulates to the system. I was going to say when you're going to start feeling it, but sometimes you can grab a mudra and immediately start feeling it. But I encourage you to use a journal. I do have the intention of making these journals and putting them up for sale, both a chakra reflection journal so that you guys can work with the chakras and through these free classes, so that we can work with them and you can keep track of them in the journal. I would like to do the same thing thank you, friend, for the gift. I would like to do the same thing for mudras, so we can keep track of the mudras. And diagnosis of BPD is often an overactive heart chakra. DSM, thanks DSM. So, yeah. If you guys will remind me, I will get on top of those, especially those of you in the Discord. I really just need reminders because I have so many projects like this. And if anybody would like to help me work on these projects, reach out to me. I am huge on trade. If you'd like to trade a membership or trade services for your assistance in building the journals or editing content or moderating or any of that kind of stuff, please reach out to me. Remember, I'm also really crossing my fingers for creating a mindfulness app that actually rewards you for self-care as well as gamifies your self-care. So if anybody has the ability to do any of those things. So, but let me get back to you, my friend. You said you think you have an overactive heart chakra because that's where you feel most things. So I'm centering my system. Pardon. Give me a moment. I think I made my coffee a little extra strong today, so it's throwing my energy off and making me a little bit buzzy. Many times when we have lower chakra imbalances, when the energy in the lower chakras, the root, the sacral, or the solar, was somehow settled into deficiency, and this usually comes from receiving the message that we are that our authenticity is a bad negative expression, or that our authenticity caused us to experience pain or trauma, whether intentionally or unintentionally, in our early years of development. So a lot of times when that happens, what we do is we pull the energy up. We pull it up to the heart. In this culture here in the West, one of the safest places for women to put that energy is up in the heart. Of the feminine to put the energy is up in the heart. One of the safest places for the masculine to put that energy is here in the solar plexus. So what we see culturally is a lot of really big open hearts with deficient lower chakras, which is where I set my boundaries, which is where I experience pleasure and take care of myself, as well as where my self-esteem is. And we pull that energy up in the heart chakra so that we just excessively off gas all this energy, push all this energy out through our heart chakras, because a lot of times that's what we're told is where our value is what we do for other people, is how we take care of other people. So we pull all that energy up because we're told we're not allowed to have boundaries to certain degrees, right? Just more so than others. Or we're not allowed to be that confident. We're not allowed to be that loud or that right? We're called egotistical or arrogant for being proud of ourselves, right? These kinds of things that we often, the ways that we parent our children in this culture, a lot of times creates lower chakra trauma. So it pulls it all the way up, again, to the heart for the feminine. And that doesn't mean that men can't have a huge heart chakra. I don't want to say that, and I want to, I'm talking about this on the spectrum of energies, of masculine all the way masculine energy to all the way feminine energy. We all express our energy on that spectrum somewhere. This is a feminine energy chakra. This is a masculine energy chakra. This is a feminine energy chakra. This is a masculine energy chakra. Let's go up. Wait, let's see. You guys want to know about the chakra system? Let's talk about the chakra system. Lee, wonderful. Healthy boundaries is something you're working on. Monish, have I read Autobiography of a Yogi? It sounds familiar. I am not sure. I will put it on my reminder list because I love things like that, suggestions. Who wrote it? Whose autobiography? But I'm also terrible with names, by the way. So I'll look it up and I'll see. Okay, this makes sense because healthy boundaries is something you've been working on. And again, a lot of us, culturally, we're taught that there are very narrow expressions of our authenticity. We're only allowed to have a certain aspect of expression. And so we compartmentalize our energy, our authenticity, into the expectations that our culture and our caregivers and things like that set for us. It's almost never conducive to our authenticity, to our full expression of authenticity. And again, that's just our cultural, like how we're culturally raising our children, how we're culturally think is appropriate. And this is influenced by psychology, by religion, by the standard status quo kind of stuff, expectations, cultural expectations, by capitalism, by other things like that, right? All of these things help shape our personalities and our energy systems as we grow. And then when we become adults in our mid-20s, when your system is finally done developing, it is now settled into the safest expression. So if it wasn't safe for example, for me, it wasn't safe for me to be loud. Hey, Corey, it wasn't safe for me to be really expressive. I still am I have a loud voice, I have big energy, and when I get excited, it makes a lot of ripples through the space. So a lot of times the message I got when I was young was to quiet down. And this is going to cause my solar plexus to pull inward. And I'm going to find my system's going to find another place to put that energy. A lot of times when our children are younger, right, we allow our boys to be boisterous and loud and confident and bossy and king of the mountain, right? And we maybe not so much for our girls. So in that way, we encourage the masculine to have this excessive solar plexus, but we don't encourage emotional intelligence. We don't encourage the nurturing aspect as much, and so they end up with a deficient sacral chakra. A deficient sacral chakra with an excessive solar plexus chakra creates a high need for control, a high expression of aggression, and to the point of potentially being violent, narcissistic, that kind of energy. And a high need to receive care. So then what happens? They look for satisfaction, as many of us do, right? This again, cultural. We look for satisfaction to balance our energy from other people, from food, from substances, from jobs, from workouts, from social media, from external validation. Our systems, we're talking about the energy system, okay. There's a top and a bottom to your energy system, the root and the crown. It is through these channels that infinite prana, that infinite source of prana, comes into our system. That energy comes into our system and meets at the heart. The heart is the center of the system. From the heart is generated our finite energy system, our toroidal field of energy that comes from our body, the chakra system and whatnot. This is our finite supply of energy that's generated by the heart. And that energy, again, the flow for that created from the heart is from the infinite source, the life force that flows through absolutely everything. If we have a disconnection here, and again, I should shift my language. I'm really trying to shift the language around it because I say disconnection and you think, oh fuck, I'm completely disconnected, but you're not. If you are alive right now, there is prana flowing through you. So you are not completely disconnected. We can gum up, we can restrict the flow of prana through us. We can restrict these channels through tension and any sort of tension-related states of being, emotional states, breath states, mental states. These things cause tension. The conscious mind causes tension. So when that happens, it reduces the flow of prana, of life force, through the system. That reduces the available energy that our system creates. Add to that the fact that we usually develop imbalances, means that many of us, most of us, are not used to filling our cup, balancing our system through an infinite source. Because again, culturally, we're not taught that. Almost all of us are not taught that. So our systems do what they know, which is just to grab what's available in the immediate environment. So we end up in really imbalanced codependent relationships. We end up really imbalanced in the way that we show up for other people versus the way that we show up for ourselves. We end up really imbalanced in our need for control or our greed or our level of aggression or our level of judgment and arrogance. Our lack of compassion, our inability to listen, right? All of these things can be these imbalances in the system and attempts for the system to rebalance itself. Feral Farm, if we have thyroid and other autoimmune issues, very low energy, how do we build energy? My favorite for that is simply the Prana Mudra. The prana mudra is done like so, leaving your pointer and your middle finger extended, bringing your ring finger and your pinky to touch the thumb. When you hold this, again, this one is with intention, not tension. So you're not squeezing your fingers here, you're not squeezing them, extending them, with intention. This is the best for overall increasing flow of prana. And this is a really nice one because it's a nice passive one. You can just set it down. You can be watching a show. Hell, I've driven my car holding this one before. It boosts confidence and it boosts overall flow of prana. That one releases pressure from your chest. Nice. And that's what so prana, when we increase the flow of prana, imagine like this is a recorder from when you were in middle school, right? Or some sort of a straw of some kind that has these other holes in it. If you increase the flow of prana, imagine what that does. It pushes out a lot of that stuck energy. So this all by itself can help clear your chakras, can help balance your whole system. Heavy fruits. Fantastic. Good observation. You said, whoa, it's easy to do with my right hand, but not with your left. So when we meet these boundaries, right, when we see this, feel this in our system, meet yourself where you're at. Do it as close as you can get to it, and then sit for the 5 minutes, sit for 10 minutes. Invite the mudra to come to you. The more you invite the mudra and the more you sit with it, the more it will resonate within you. Monish, it's funny that you actually, that's what I was wondering if it was Yogananda, because somebody just on Saturday mentioned Yogananda as well. Thank you for bringing it to my awareness again. There's something important, huh? I don't think I have that. Do I have that book? I don't have that book. No, I have Iyengar, I have Light on Yoga and Science of Being, but I don't have the Autobiography of a Yogi. No. Leb. Pillow scoot. Ooh, full body goosebumps. Nice. Because it is. It's a flow through the entire system, right? What's what, Vada? What do you mean? So yeah, when you find these tensions, invite the intention to release by not pushing past your edge. Remember that there's also just dexterity, general dexterity. So sometimes we just don't have the dexterity to reach to a mudra. Some of these mudras are really twisty, right? You guys want to do the other one? What's the Manipura Chakra mudra? That one's kind of a lot. We can't all do that. And so instead of excluding ourselves from receiving the energy of the mudra, we just do as best as we can. Best as we can, and invite the mudra to find its way to us. Do I enjoy Qigong? I don't practice Qigong itself. Again, just as a little background on me, for those of you who are new here, hello, my name is Reverend Deborah. I'm an interfaith minister and a movement facilitator and your shenanigan shaman. I'm also an energy worker, a nutritionist, an herbalist, and a whole bunch of other silly labels and hats. And I've been doing energy work since I was a kid. I received my family lineage, and then I later went through Usui lineage Reiki training as well. Qigong, again, I've practiced before, but it seems, for me, it feels like an extension of the things that I already do through yoga, through meditation, through other mindfulness practices. I move on my porch and in my house, and where I actually, like every single day, I practice similar style, just not within the framework of Qigong itself. All the stuff and things. It's just energy movement, right? And we have all these different labels and different styles of energy movement, but when we learn the foundations of energy movement, of how the energy system works, how we can move energy, we don't so much need the confines of one particular way. But again, we can receive great benefit from studying one particular way, just the same as we can receive great benefit from experimenting with different ways. And I encourage you, especially in a world that says pick one way and only one way, or don't question the one way you've chosen, or whatever it is, in a world that relies on your ignorance, counts on your willful ignorance, become familiar with the things that you're ignorant about. Ignorant is just a term, right? That means unknowing. I didn't know. I don't know about it. I don't know anything about it. And there are things that we can acknowledge that we are ignorant about. This world and a lot of people in this world and institutions would rely, cross their fingers, that you remain ignorant of these practices and that they remain elusive, right? Or expensive. Or you can only learn it if you're from India. Or you can only practice it if you go to Japan, and learn this tool from a high master and whatnot. It's the exclusivity. Yes, Lee, it's the gatekeeping. Now, should we respect the lineage of these practices? 100%. There are mantras that we say, particularly in Kundalini, Kriya Yoga, and whatnot, where we thank the lineage of teachers. All of them. Not just one of them. And not just the ones who came before, but the ones who are going to be coming in the future, and also the one that exists within me. When we thank the lineage of teachers in any practice, we include the self in that. Because you are your guru. In the here and now, right in this moment, you are your guru. And the most important thing is whether or not the information or the practice resonates within you. Because nobody else has access to your truth. Nobody else can tell you what that truth is. But if we never do the internal exploration, then we never find our own truth. And sometimes we have to look outside the box that we were given as children to find the truth. When I was born here into the U.S. in Southern California, I felt not immediately, but I remember saying at a very young age, I feel like I was born into a club that I don't want to be part of. I don't like the way your club treats each other. I don't like the expectations of your club. I don't agree with the rules of your club. I don't like the way, I don't like this club. So I tried moving to other countries. I tried traveling a bunch, but ultimately ended up living outside of the normal track of American life, I suppose. Because I always felt like I was born into the wrong spot. I was born in the wrong place. Never felt like I had home. Never felt like I had community. Until I found those things within myself. And as annoying as that is, it's actually true. From somebody who has literally traveled the globe trying to find home and community in everywhere else, and here as well, traveled the country. It's difficult to experience trust for another if you do not trust yourself. It's difficult to experience love for another if you do not experience love for yourself. Vada, so annoying. I went all over the country. Yeah, exactly. Wondering soul foundation is a wild thing to be. I am your classic example of somebody who has looked for it outside of myself for a long time. I am a perfect example too of somebody who was doing the right thing, but in doing the right thing, I was weaponizing my energy. I was engaging in and creating codependent relationships with other people, with my teachers or bosses, with jobs and substances, right? We create those things to satisfy our needs as really immature, short-sighted ways to satisfy our needs. Because again, the system is trying to satisfy, to bring it back into balance. My system is self-aligning. My system is self-correcting. But if we are so off balance, right? If the scales are if the scales are tipped, the measurement is always going to be off balance. If the scales are tipped, the measurement's always going to be off balance. So if I am out of balance, my perspective, my judgments, my expectations are going to be out of balance. So in this space, when I'm trying to right my system, when I'm trying to balance my system, when I'm trying to just uncover what the imbalances are, it's important to meet ourselves with curiosity and willingness, right? So grateful for this nook on the net. Me too. So we were talking for a second there, or we were talking about the energy system, and I wanted to continue talking about how the energy system works. So guys, don't let me go past 11:45 because I really do. I have a coaching session after this, so I really do have to go by 11:45. If you guys could do me a favor and keep an eye on that for me, that'd be really awesome. It's 11:25 here on the West Coast. Yes, 20 minutes. Okay. So we have the top and the bottom, and infinite source of prana comes through them. It transmutes through the heart into our finite toroidal system that runs around our body, that goes around our body. This is what influences the chakras. This is what generates the aura. And this is often where we seek to satisfy our needs when we're still stuck in the illusionary matrix space, when we're not open yet or aware yet of these other connections. Alongside the 7 chakras are located at the base, the root, your pelvic floor. That's the root, is your pelvic floor. Sacral is between your pubic bone and your belly button. Solar plexus is between your belly button and your sternum. Heart is basically your chest area up here. Throat is just about at the lower throat here, but generally through this entire area. Also influences the shoulders and the hearing and our ability to listen. The third eye has a front right here at the brow, and the crown is at the top of the head. Every chakra, from the sacral to the throat, every chakra has a front and a back. The sacral to the throat have a front right here and a back directly behind it. The third eye is the only one that's not the only one that's different, because the crown and the root are the top and bottom to the system. This one has a back behind, back behind, back behind, back behind, back behind, back behind. Third eye is here at the brow, and the lower one, or the back one, goes through the pineal gland. My mode of communication with higher self. We have 2 major energy channels that run alongside the chakras, and you'll see them represented in several ways. Some show them just as 2, like almost belts, right, that go around the chakras. I have personally seen them as such and I've seen them represented this way elsewhere too, whereas the system goes like the nadis, they're called, intertwine between the chakras. So it creates a kind of left and a right, a left and a right. Let me show you how this works. If you're a visual person or a very physical person like me, do this with me. Bring your index fingers up to your third eye. Your right index finger represents the Pingala, the solar energy that moves through the body. This is an upward motion energy. This is a lifting energy, right? So this right energy is going to go up, and the lunar Ida energy is going to come down with your left. So what does that do to your third eye chakra? But it turns the chakra towards the left, right? If the energy is going up from the right and down from the left, then that chakra is going to turn towards my left. If these then intertwine between the chakras, the third eye goes left, the throat goes right. The heart goes left, the solar plexus goes right. Right? 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 Left. Yeah. So that'll influence the solar versus lunar energy of each chakra. Thor, have a wonderful day. Heard solar plexus is 2 nerves located in the digestive tract. So yes, your chakras also correlate to areas in your body that have clusters of nerves or have synapses, or your endocrine system, or there are correlations in the body to these general points. And the energy, remember, your body itself is the top stone on the stack of stones, on the cairn. Anything else underneath out of alignment, and it's going to manifest into your body. Anxiety, why do you feel that rippling through your belly? Because that anxiety is associated with your solar plexus. If anxiety causes tension in your throat and a fast heartbeat, it means the anxiety is rooted here in these chakras. If my rage, right, if my anger is rooted in different, wherever I experience that is going to be indicative of the energy that's causing that. In this way, we can use our chakras as a diagnostic, so we can better understand why certain things are manifesting in our systems, especially those energies or those emotions that we're like, where the hell did that come from? What if your heart pain is in your throat? It's just a connection between the two, Vada. If you experience a twinge in your, like if you experience a sadness or something, or you experience the onslaught of pain in some way in your heart, or sadness or things like that, is that what you're talking about? And then experiencing it as tension in the throat, it just means that your system is connecting those two. So I imagine heart pain, your system is influencing your inability to speak that pain. That's my intuition on that, without working directly with your system. Brooklyn, how do I sit like this? Again, we were talking about earlier, about honoring where you're at instead of trying too hard to push past your boundaries and hurting yourself, just getting yourself closer and closer to it. So practicing butterfly pose with your with the palms of your with the palms of your feet, sure, the palms of your feet together, soles of your feet together, or doing things like fire log pose and other things like that. Remember that there are other versions of lotus or half lotus that we can do. This one's fire log. I really like fire log. If you can't quite get into lotus, you can just do fire log, where you stack your foot on top of your knees. Or you can, again, just do a half one. But be mindful of your ankles. And also, if you're sitting like this, it can help to flex the feet a little bit to protect your knees, the knee joints. Lee, you asked, does the energy kind of hum? We can all have very different experiences. No. It's just the neighbor. It's okay. We will all have personal experiences of our energy. So for some of us, it'll be a hum. For some of us, it'll be a visceral experience. For some of us, it'll be colors, or some variation of all of those. So do you want me to put you outside? Why, just so you can scream at the neighbors for leaving their own house? That's kind of rude, don't you think? Okay. Remember that where we experience the imbalance in our system doesn't mean that that's the root of where it's coming from. It's just the first layer. It's where it manifests. So we always want to go where it manifests. So if that manifests in your throat, treat your throat, as well as wherever it's at. If you know it's with your heart too, then treat both, or work on that expression, or work on that expression. If that is the connection, then I encourage you to practice vocalizing the heart pain that you're experiencing, whether it be screaming or crying or talking about it or moaning about it. Like, really encourage the connection, the expression of the two. Feral Farm, your biggest thing lately is a feeling of lack. Bills are late. Everything's broken. So Feral Farm, this is also a collective experience that we're having. I think there's a collective, hey, Vec Luke, my friend. There is a collective sense of lack, but it's also being falsely generated. Yes, there's a genuine sense of lack, but there's also the fear of lack and the idea of lack and the concept and the energy of it. Do you want me to put you out there? Fine. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. Hold on. Yes. You stay out here then. You stay out here. No, okay. All right. Ugh. You dog. You dog. I love him. Hold on. No, I'm going to sit down. Oh. Okay. Things are complicated. Extremely collective. My account has never been lower. I've never taught more, and it's actually freaky. And I'm quitting. The cost of living is too high. We have to use the government to regulate the greed. Yes. Okay. So, right. Again, in a world that relies on your attention, relies on harvesting your resources so that they can fabricate the illusion of these states of being to influence your energy. That sounds really complicated and nefarious, but it's actually really obviously happening and has been for a long time. It's not hidden. It's not backhanded. I mean, it is backhanded, but it's very, you can go to college right now. You can go to an online school and you can take classes in marketing. You can hire somebody who's going to use manipulation and gaslighting and psychological theory to market you, your services, your products, or whatever it is that you're doing, right? That's the whole point. And the way that marketing now works is a manipulation tool. And it relies on you taking things at face value and not thinking too deeply or too hard about them. Not being aware of your own needs and your own desires and your own intentions, and be much, because when you are not aware of those things, you are much more easily swayed and pulled aside by, again, let's use this analogy, right? This is really easy. If I go to the grocery store and my intention is to only buy some apples, all of that marketing in there, right? My intention is to only buy apples. If I keep my attention on that intention to buy apples, and I'm not giving in, right, or paying attention, I'm not giving my awareness or my attention to any of the other marketing that's happening around me, then I can pretty much easily get in there, get my apples, and get out. But what happens when we go in there is that we often allow our attention to be pulled away, or haven't cultivated even the awareness of where our attention is and what's influencing us, and we allow ourselves to be manipulated. Once we become aware of this, it's like, oh God, wow, I have, like, whoa, there's a lot that I am, that I wear, that I eat, that I choose to do, that I really haven't thought too deeply about. And if I haven't thought too deeply about it, that means somebody else is influencing me. That means somebody else is making those decisions for me on some level. And I don't know about you, but I personally don't like the idea of being puppeted. I like to make my decisions for me based on what I actually need. Because usually when somebody else makes those decisions for me, they fall short of what I actually need. Why? Because that person doesn't really know what my unique needs are. Especially if it's some larger company or some huge overreaching government or some conglomerate corporation that tries to satisfy the needs of all their customers in all the places. They don't try to satisfy your needs anymore. They generate a need, a false need, for you to satisfy through their products. So they can sell a product to you for a false need. This is gaslighting, it's manipulation, and it's been happening for a very long time. Vec Luke, I like to make puppets. Nice. S'mores ramen, what? Leb? This is how we end up with s'mores flavored cup of ramen. Right. Who, tell me who needed peanut butter and jelly in the same jar? Did anybody really decide that you needed that? Or my favorite are the condiments that are like just mayonnaise and ketchup mixed together. And I'm like, you can just make that at home, but you're going to spend extra money on buying the 2 condiments in 1 bottle. You didn't know you needed it. And we even socially like joke about this, right? That this is how we like, oh, I couldn't help myself, right? We are so ingrained in the capitalist structure that we accept that we are being manipulated. Regal Poison, great, great foundation there, right? For going shopping with a grocery list and also never when hungry, right? Those are good tools. And also cultivate your control of your awareness of where your attention is. And then you won't need any tools or lists and things like that on top of that. It's just, I can stay focused on my intention. Lori, the mixed together is gross. I agree. Lee, you started making your own frozen waffles. Spectacular. Leb, I couldn't help myself. Did you even try? Many of us don't try. But again, it's so culturally normative, it's so culturally accepted and even encouraged for us to remain in the cycle of manipulation. The cycle of satisfying real need with false, finite energy. We can look at it with our food too. I'm hungry. Okay, well, I'm going to go through the drive-thru and grab some food. That food doesn't actually offer my body really much of anything except for to give me the illusion of being full and to satisfy my brain and my mouth. A lot of these foods and a lot of these things satisfy our body, my mouth, my eyes, my brain, but they do nothing to fortify the spirit, the immunity, the system, the whole self. So we cultivate our awareness. We cultivate our awareness of our intention and our attention. Before I go, we'll stop with this. We'll end with this. If you want, I am working with creating products that have the 4, thank you, Vada, the 4 pillars of mindfulness on them, so that no matter where you are, no matter what you're doing, you can remember, aha, my intention is my North Star. And I align my intention with my values and my desires. Sometimes my intention, again, is just to go to the grocery store and get apples. But when I set my intention, I focus my attention on that intention. And then anything that comes up, I meet with curiosity and willingness. So what does that look like if I'm going to the grocery store and my intention is just to get apples? I'm going to keep my attention on that. And anytime my attention gets pulled away to something, instead of being curious about that thing and what it is and falling down a rabbit hole, I'm going to be curious about why my attention was pulled away. And in this way, I will start to see habitually what pulls away my attention. Interesting. All of these sugar products are really the thing that pulled away my attention. Or maybe they just all happen to be red. If they're all red, check in with your root chakra. Right? In this way, we can use this too. Your mindfulness is your diagnostic tool. Meet everything that comes up with curiosity and willingness, but realign your attention with your intention so that you stay focused. Your ship stays on course. This is how we relieve ourselves from being manipulated. This is how we lift ourselves out of the stickiness of all that gaslighting and sales and bullshit that relies on us being unaware. Lift yourself up. Float above it. Thank you, Alan. We like to be goofy in here. Float above it. And just see what comes up. In fact, you guys know, I say you are your guru. You can take these tools and try them on and see if they fit. And if they don't feel good to you, then don't use them. Toss them out. Give them to somebody else. But I encourage when you try them, I encourage you to meet it with curiosity and willingness and see what comes up. If you're interested in exploring. Because these are the very tools that have not only changed my life, but literally saved my life on more than one occasion. Do I live with things like PTSD and depression and anxiety and all these other things and, frustrations and things? Yeah, I'm a human. growing, evolving, and figuring this shit out every day. But I have been able now to build a trusting, loving relationship with myself that affords me the kind of foundation that I never ever had by seeking it outside of myself. Ren, welcome. You're new here. Yes, I come live. I am live Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday at 10 a.m. Pacific time. Here's my little vessel. My little boat is going with us. 10 a.m. Pacific time, Monday, Wednesday, Saturday, and Friday. There is always a schedule posted at the top of my content. If you'd like to join the Discord for free, continue this conversation, chat about these things, get resources, if you'd like to join memberships or support the work that I do, because I teach these classes for free, you can do so on my Patreon page or through the link tree that I have in my bio. Remember that for up to a week, replays for these classes are always on YouTube, and I am always live on TikTok and YouTube, and usually another place. Right now, it's Instagram. If you'd like to see me live somewhere else, let me know. For now, my friends, I have to boogie because I have a coaching session here in 15 minutes. I'm going to get settled in. I love you so much. Take your mudra for the week, the Garuda Mudra, and use it to encourage that kind of personal responsibility that we've been talking about, right? This is the mudra for maturity. It does take a degree of maturity to cultivate the kind of personal responsibility required to take responsibility, to be responsible for your choices and your actions and yourself. And that's, again, one of the most radical things that you can do in a world that relies on your ignorance. Become familiar. Become familiar. Gain some perspective. Cultivate your awareness and your authenticity. See, Victoria, no mud, no lotus. We must come through the mud. That's that image, right? That's that. The lotus comes from the mud. So even if we, again, this is my favorite saying, right? You are healing because you were broken. You cannot come home to yourself unless you've left home first. All right, I love you guys so much. I am gonna boogie now, for real. You're very welcome. Come join me in the Discord, or I will see you on Wednesday morning at 10 a.m. Give me a follow. Watch for shenanigans. I sometimes randomly come live. And again, if you'd like to support me, memberships are available as well as donations are available. Donation pot is available on my link tree. Thank you guys so much for being awesome and beautiful. All right. I will see you later, Instagram. I love you. And see you later, YouTube. I love you too.